Hello, agus fáilte rascu trí seascad. An program ag BBC Alba ha dul go cría spórs na ban an seán Alba agus urna na sáte ar fallh cuiteoch. Tá sin leis ar program a hochgarún agus ha córtach rin gomór a bhí thorsiúcah scéalach gan na boranig ingantach an sil spórs na Alba. Is mis Iona Ballantyne agus ha mí tola tíí ra go bhfuil sé a babhaiste chluig rugby ar son skip in na Alba Heather Lockhart callrooms in studio. Ar a fhuair nach féisiún súlarás ar na gemicin bheith skipíon balcóise is rugby na Alba. Agus Cluinnidh sin Bha Rosie Sterk a ha cosna cluicheadair an a Teanas. Agus fanna ha Heather callrain, cóirtí sin a rois go gem na sapit, at ar Alba agus a cumrí an farpis na Sia Dùthchannan. Agus gúna gemicin Judy a ha fara ar son cúchba na Cluinnidh. Heather, welcome to 360.
Hello, thank you.
Now, for those who may not know, can you just tell us a bit about your career in sport and in particular rugby?
Yeah, I came to rugby, not like nowadays where you can take it up at minis, etc. I came to rugby at university, so I took it up then, and I'd always watched it, and the opportunity came at university and I absolutely loved it, and I took it from there. And I played for a couple of years. I played at university and I played at a club in Edinburgh. I played at Murrayfield Wanderers actually, and then I didn't play for a number of years and then retook up again at Jordan Hill in Glasgow, so it's great. Yeah, it's good to take it back up.
And you also have a number of caps, don't you, for Scotland?
Yeah, that year I remember somebody trying to get in touch with somebody at Jordan Hill saying they're trying to get in touch with you, and you know, for a training camp, the development camp. I think that was in the summer of 2004. And then by the November, yeah, there was an injury and I got called up to the main squad, so that was exciting. Yeah, it was at Murrayfield actually, my first cap against the United States of America, so yeah, just took it from there.
And did you just love your international career?
Yeah, absolutely. We're lucky to play at 2 World Cups actually, so that was great, and a fantastic squad of players. And I think when I joined, there was sort of a group there, and then there was a developing group, and now it's really interesting to see how the group of players that we have now are developing as well, with the horizon of the potential World Cup qualifications. So having been at World Cup, yeah, I can see absolutely, and it's in New Zealand, the first time it's been in the Southern Hemisphere, so that's next September, the 18th September, so yeah, something that we'll be really trying to get there for, yeah.
Absolutely. And for you personally, you are still playing just now. I mean, for so many people, their bodies would probably just be saying stop, but not yours. What keeps you going?
I think I've just always played sport, and I'm lucky I've got a lot of good role models in my life, and that everyone's still playing, so there's no reason not to play. So I've got background in tennis and hockey as well, and other sports too. I've even played real tennis. I don't really get the chance. There's only one court in Scotland actually. It's called sort of real tennis, royal tennis, which lawn tennis derives from, and I really like that, but I don't really get the chance to play here, so maybe one day I'll get the chance to play that again too, so it's good, yeah. And
can you tell us a bit about hockey and tennis, because that's something you were involved at a higher level when you were younger, but now coaching?
Yes, so I took up tennis. My grandmother was a big fan of tennis. My grandfather was actually the president of Tennis Scotland. It was the Scottish Lawn Tennis Association, so my grandmother was big, and my mum, etc. And Dad a big supporter. He'd come down and feed some balls, so all our family plays. So, and my aunt too. Both my aunt and my mum both play tennis and hockey, so both are actually hockey internationalists. So yeah, so just sort of grew up with lots of rackets, sticks, etc. So played at the club, and took up a hockey at school as well. And I think having both the individual and the team sport is a nice balance as well. And tennis as well, you can have doubles too. So there's so many transferable skills. I think you see that in the rugby as well. People coming from different sports. Yeah, it's really interesting to see. Like Rachel McLachlan's come from judo. Yep. So that's really interesting. Sarah Bonner's come from rowing, all the different, the background, and Rachel Malcolm's obviously under 21 cap at hockey, and she was very much a captain, and she was captain at Loughborough for hockey, and now she's transferred that into her rugby and obviously the national team. So there's transferable skills, and there's just so much you can get out of sport, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, we'll be hearing more from you shortly. Thank you. A sé 8 Mason híl farpa Sia Dùthchannan an ban an dheireannach. Chionn Alba gam na stúlacha san rang an ceadh dúich a seaar san til a til ar Scotstoun. A gari sé again bha úsin macalínin agus a Wies Dalglish.
Wat het geen de eerst. Ik as der kuitje. San nur inting al af der Sia sy'n het score ek skip in de Frange. Jy die koik minuten. Is die der mention co Ekavaba. Well, Louise, that was always on the cards when you see once they got the ball down at the line out, they had momentum and they just rolled forward. It's so difficult to stop this, isn't it? We're seeing it in all the games just now.
Absolutely, Hugh. I mean, legally, it's virtually impossible if a driver keeps moving like that, especially with the experience, as we've spoken about in that French pack. They're going to get in the right position, and it is kind of Scotland need to think about how they can stop the set of them all before they get started, and maybe try and combat that.
Well, look at you, wil je gaan? Het is een daar vlak, de Albannach, het is bij Pies, maar schaffe der kutje. Maar bekken van nog goed is, ja, gezien er al op Gurketal. Tremulier. Zo dat je les broek, maar hoe is het niet? Wel, wij zeggen, is een sport. Roy Callagher, voel je hoorschach de Hyundai, hockey die Chuaitean was. Leinig en Frankig, maar haar kookmeters en maar. De kosjach is ja. Er is ook geen Frankje naar plaaien het alles zo. Ja, dan roept er een dat is hier het lee. Ik zat er een en die is. Dus als je dus moeilijk krijgt, I got Sosha. Er doe aan. This is almost a textbook carbon copy of the try in the first half, isn't it, Louise? Same tactic.
Absolutely.
And again, it's virtually impossible to defend.
Yeah, as soon as the French jumpers' feet hit the ground, the players are around her, they've secured that ball and they've started that momentum going forward. And as we've said, it's impossible to defend legally.
Oh, get you vraka. Zijn er vrakken in de goal zo, is 3 punten gelappen. Een game erachter. Pikken. Bikkerweg, a game, Chinook. Two valappen get the hard hast, de alappe Sia, a rhyme, 3 tier. Hips get the hip shit, and the Björn in the first glow, and Ishta, Konkelir valap. Machen en je met Shankland van de wijnje te gelappen. Hij score chionn. Het is een game chionn de Kapula. Hier gaan we te gelappen. Maar wordt de verreketje goed aan de wijnje van die gezet. Richard Shankland. Dus hier score aan de jene naar gelappen. The game has turned completely. And you would have put your mortgage on her 20 metres out there because you could just see what she was going to do.
A space opened up for her because of the work that was done in that midfield. You just, I almost felt previously the game had started going a bit flat. There was a little half break by Chloe. That inside ball to Hannah Smith to get us away, kind of past the gain line, and then build on that. Rachel Shanklin would have just been loving that sight. A clear run in for a debut cap try.
Points to Kunkel there though.
I think back to what you said about Jade there, yeah, there was a hint of, because the French defence, had Jade been tackled to ground, she was probably behind all of her support. She did really well to stay strong in that white channel and then get back on the move and link up with Rachel.
Het gewonnen. 3 tier, Kellen Nelson, lig je daar voor in.
Jolar san Cluinnidh na h-Alba maha. Ach, was Cluinnidh sin vo Heather, friend sin is coach at their amal Brian Eason. Min viarn Heather Àlba is lehichin rang is sasain. Shona ve kirira.
Yeah, there's a big gap. We're not going to lie about that. We're not going to say, oh, overnight it's all going to happen. But we are closing it. I think we are closing it gradually. We're not closing it. It's not going to be a big jump as in with the next 6 months we're going to beat England or we're going to do whatever. We are going to close the gap, and I think teams will start to get a fright. And that's what we want. We want to get respect. And I think that respect is beginning to come. You look at the performance we got against Spain last year away, South Africa twice last year as well. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because of what's going on behind the scenes and the work that the players are putting in. So from the performances we've had within recent times, I think we are closing that gap. It'll take a little while longer, but I think the work that's going on in behind the scenes with everybody is putting us in a good stead and putting us in a good place for the future.
Heather, what a result for Scotland on Sunday, because France are a high-scoring team, and what did you make of that performance?
Yeah, it was just fantastic for the girls. I mean, to get a draw after being 13-3 down just after half-time and to fight back, get a penalty goal and then convert a try right at the end, that was just phenomenal for the girls. To put it in context, France are ranked 4th in the world and Scotland are ranked 11th, so it was really exciting for the girls to get that result. They haven't beaten France since 2010. We've never drawn with them and we've only had 4 wins out of 27, so to put that in context, it was a real big step forward. Emma Wassell was on the tweet afterwards. I think there was an Irish commentator had said that it was a foregone conclusion that France would beat Scotland on Sunday on the Saturday's match when Ireland played Italy. So I think Emma was like, well, we've taken the steps forward, and she says win or lose, we just want to put in a performance and make sure that we're doing the right steps forward, and I think this game showed that they're doing that, and Brian was alluding to that as well. We're narrowing the gaps, so keep taking those steps forward, I think, is the key. And I think Brian identified before the match that they wanted to really focus on defence and the kicking. He was saying that Scotland had beaten Spain and they'd also beaten South Africa last year, but there was 2 losses at the beginning of the Six Nations, and then there was all the losses last year in the Six Nations. So I think the girls, it's fantastic they've got a result that's indicative of their hard work over the summer to get a result in a Six Nations match. So so really go forward. So in defence, I don't think we showed it there, but Lisa Thompson and Chloe Rowley right at the end on the 76th minute did a fantastic tackle. There was a break and it's 13-all and the French were on the counter attack and they just bundled her into touch and she took a wee while. I think she needed a bit of treatment. So and I just saw Lisa Thompson's face and I was like, yeah, not today. So fantastic, you two, great teamwork, great friends, and just that's the mentality. You're not getting through today at 13-all. So that was fantastic. We saw the 2 tries that France scored, the rolling maul, we were discussing that. It's a really, and Louise was talking about how hard it is to stop. So I think that's something, I know we've taken great strides forward. I think for Sunday's match against Wales, that's something that the team will be reviewing, because Wales also like to kick for the corners and then try the driving maul. Scotland men used it. I mean, it's got 4 tries, I think, from it at the weekend. So it is a tactic. But I think one of the ways I think they might look at it is to try and just reduce the number of penalties to give away to stop the kick to the corner. So that might be something they look at. Wales also have got Gwen Grab, one of their go-to jumpers, so they might try and just mark her a bit. So, but they can take great heart from that defensive display, but just at the set piece, how just to negate that driving maul and not put them in that position in the first place. But the kicking, I've got to mention Helen Nelson's kicking. It was outstanding, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just like, just so pleased for her. I think Scotland do a lot of hard work, like Jay Conto from the match. She had 25 ball carries, I mean, more than anyone. But sometimes we're doing it in the wrong areas of the pitch. Not in the wrong areas, but we want to be a bit further up the pitch so that Jade's ball carries really get momentum. And I think the kicking game can really help. We want to play in the right areas of the pitch. So yeah, Helen's penalty goal just to get us 13-6. And then the conversion, that was a hard conversion. I think one of the guys at our rugby club was like, did you see that? Did you see that kick? That was really good. So, and I get the visibility of it. There's and I actually texted Helen on Sunday night going, that was a really, really good performance. I was like, can I ask, have you been working on it? And she was like, yeah, I've been working super, super hard on it. So, and I'm glad it's playing off. She said, I did a bit in lockdown, but more in pre-season. She plays at Loughborough, and I think she's just working really hard there. And there's the secret. And one of our kickers at the club was like, she kicked amazing, wish I could do that. And I said, well, here's the secret. I was like, hard work. So practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Thank you very much. And talmanisha Cluinnidh fod chegan a runnakin óga and a tennis na Àisia. Bha Rosie Sterk ar a bhí an sas na Jiffer Sports fó bhaid óg. Rut a head a bhí na bhúnaí sí na sifiachain Sia Dùthchannan and a tennis.
Stewie give Cluinnidh for Spars and sound like Teanas along Cluinnidh Albannach Rosie Sterk.
Well, we moved down to the Central Belt when we were around about 12, when I was 12 or 13. And at the time I was playing national level badminton, basketball and tennis. I was actually in the Scotland team at the time for basketball and badminton. And then one winter I got whooping cough and we were like, okay, well, we need to step back from something. So then we dropped badminton and then we got to the stage where we're just like, okay, well, I think tennis is the way to go. And it's something I would say to younger generations or just anyone playing sport is to try and play as many sports as you can, and because it keeps you injury free and it keeps you interested in lots of different things. And even if you're maybe finding one sport hard at the time, then you always have other things to do. So I thought it was great. I really enjoyed playing lots of different sports at different levels as well.
Gaf Rosie Pars am sa fhrògram WTA Future Stars agus Judy troimhe chun chionn am na Àisia.
Well, the programme is kind of designed to empower young women, which I think is a great initiative. And so they run lots of different camps, and I was actually involved in the finals, the Future Stars Programme finals, which is run beside the WTA finals as the top 8 players go. And the programme started 6 years ago and was mainly based in Asia. And then as the programme has gotten bigger, the last year was actually the first year that included countries like the UK, Canada and USA. So that was really exciting to be the first for the under-16s to go and represent GB and also just meet lots of different people and experience a completely different side of the world, and it was amazing. It was such a well-rounded programme. It's not just about you just go and play tennis. Like, there are matches to play, and there was on-court clinics with legends such as Alicia Mollett and Sia Dùthchannan, King. So that was incredible. And then there was even off-court aspects to coaching wee kids, which was challenging because not all of them spoke English because we were over in China. So that was quite good to try something different. And even I got to meet and I made new friends from all over the world.
Tron glasig Bha Rosie in Sas am san iomairt iad go tennis. Program chud Judy vodach idvog, gus taik a horst a gúine a chumal fut.
The aims were to get people back off the sofa, get people moving again. I know I was certainly bad for just saying, oh, I'm watching their episode, I'll get up after. And it was a really, really great initiative because it was made for varying abilities, for the equipment that was available to you at the time, for space that was available to you at the time. And it was important that it was designed like that because people weren't bearing restrictions of what we could and could not do at the time. So it was really good. It was an honour to be a part of it as well, because I think it shows that anyone can do tennis, anyone can get involved, and you can do tennis anywhere. So I think it was a really big thing to be a part of.
Ha spars id grún chorman agus tar ewlis a horst de Rosie. Would you be a si tanga me gang, gubrach?
The sport has brought me to so many different places. Like when I was playing basketball, we went to Andorra. Playing badminton, we went to Belgium. And then playing tennis, I've been to Italy, Switzerland, China, America. It just brought me so many different places, and I've met so many nice people. And I think it's really given me confidence and skills that I can take wherever I go, whether that's tennis, whether it's business. Like, they're just transferable skills, and it's been really good fun. Sport in general offers you so many pathways, so it has allowed me the opportunity to try some umpiring, some refereeing, some coaching, as you said, and even like doing press stuff or interviews, which is something I never thought I'd be able to do. And so it's put me outside my comfort zone, but I have loved the challenge of doing it and learning how to do it.
Tron system cholliste achke, ha Rosie gamas it na station, lendoch is full aming, as ik in de naam tennis a chluich, go art either.
I'm hoping to go to America and go through the collegiate system there. And I think that'll be really good for me because I love school just as much as I love tennis. And so it means I can get a degree and I can play tennis, and it'll give me opportunities after, or paths that I could go. So who knows, like hopefully I could try and go pro, but like it gives me so many paths that I could do. So there's teams of six players in each team, and you can play 6 singles and 3 doubles, and you go and play against other schools in your conference. And then at the same time, you also do a degree. So it's 50% school, 50% tennis. So you can play like a really high level of tennis as well as getting a degree. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be really good for me to get back into a team atmosphere, obviously playing basketball and football and netball when I was younger. I've really missed the team atmosphere, and I think it'll be really good for me to get out there and play tennis.
Heather, it's great to see and hear Rosie's story, because she's a young woman who really loves sport and is really using it to her benefit.
Yeah, it's quite a remarkable story actually. You know, moving, she's from Stonehaven and the family have moved down to the Central Belt for her sport, but it's amazing all the different sport as well as the tennis, the basketball and the badminton. So she's really got a sort of holistic view of it. She's always done her schoolwork and her sport, and she's saying, you know, she was talking about transferable skills and things like that, and it gives it a much more rounded. So yeah, she's quite a remarkable girl. I was lucky to meet. I played against her last year, and then in the summer there was a World Team Tennis Initiative in the Central Belt, and she actually ended up umpiring one of our matches, and I got the chance to have a chat with her. An absolutely outstanding girl, and I'm sure she was talking about hoping to go to the States, and I'm sure she goes there. And it was interesting how she was talking about the team element. The fact that she'd played in basketball and now she's going to hopefully go to the States, get a degree and progress her tennis and play in a team environment that maybe she hasn't had so much, you know, playing her singles at tennis. So yeah, I wish her all the best for that. Yeah.
She is a great role model, especially for young girls and women coming into tennis, isn't she?
Yeah, very much so. And all these programs going to Asia and China, I mean, that's phenomenal. And she said, I was out of my comfort zone. You know, there's a girl from Stonehaven going, I'm in China, what's all this about? You know what I mean? All these different places. And she was talking about in all her sports how the chance to travel, and I think the chance to see how different people live and the culture. And she said she had to coach and they were speaking a different language. And you know, for someone that's maybe not got lots of experience doing that, again, that's putting it out of her comfort zone, and that's showing people that she didn't have the skills beforehand, but she's come through that program and now she has. So well done the WTA for having that program. It's fantastic. Yeah,
absolutely. And as a coach yourself, it is so important really to develop these talented athletes from a young age.
Yeah, absolutely. And using different skills, it's the mental, the physical, the tactical, and again that whole person, the ability to sort of deal with situations, because when you're playing in a tennis match it's just you out there, and quite a lot of the time you're not allowed a coach on court, etc. So it's like problem solving, so it's giving you the resilience, the tenacity, which comes out in all sports, but I think tennis very much so, because sometimes if you're just playing singles it's you. So it's, I think as a coach you can help the players when you're coaching them, and then to the tools to do it. It's interesting, I was speaking to one of the guys that was playing football and their manager wasn't there that day, and he said, it was really hard, we didn't know what to do. And I was just like, well, you need to, players, if you're on the pitch, at the end of the day coaching can take you so far, but when you're on the court or the pitch you need to think for yourself whether it's a team environment or whether it's an individual. So very much Rosie will be developing that. Yeah. And
is that something you try to coach yourself when you are playing tennis, when you're coaching younger people? Yeah, definitely. Just like this is your practice. Yeah, absolutely. It's not about me, never about me. When you're coaching, it's off you go. And I think very much try and listen and what you see as well. Sometimes it's what people don't say or don't do that you have to pick up on. Great advice indeed. Thank you. Nes trai sa fhrògram, chun sin skipper rugby na Albannach Àilbe Jenú Ma, agus a nisha sin chionn dheireannach chun na Bhalchráin. Ha skipper Shelley Kerr dagam Jerevia Cluicher son na Euros in Shachin Saw agus Shaw Marach Aigev.
A brachtach a fudach iad a thuil seo cúntais agus ma dhéadach hall up the key at thuil line. Agus dúbáil the eiliúiste go Cuthbert to dash go fhuair. Agus hanging on the stage, dói a chunig in huair a suúa géad an ta seach. Agus Caroline Fhuair Idol chuid an na suíochú gomanas cóirteile le caisceal na huair a chadagáil bhapic an first an ann is a báil dul secha de hisce. De bos an jain as a seo ní dúbhá hogáil is déis hisce chaile le dúnige mar go Teanas a bit féna a seo. Bunas ba finish, fhuair h-Alba go mar sin agus Àisia trí Cionn.
Cluinnidh ó fan a leine. Steach na fiolain, thuair arnid fan a leine. Cha burig even nána bain agus a summanin ar an tálain ga fiolain. Ar son an gúirid thoiseach an na Helsinki. Inslee, toch een laan sa buchkes, laan chluicheadair for gachtú. Chicky Ganuas Kirsty Hansen geta. She chaya si Air Ais, she go hokel gene vi an Air Ais. Shastai hanel ha farantashin. Jane Ross se vaun le chionn. Fiach het misturige shach a chanegi puloch. Shach a bay. Woos het ma voi peshe chionn maar valde for a couple of een kale. They're a farantashin.
Heather, a great win against Albania on Friday, but Scotland will be disappointed with that loss against Finland on Tuesday because this is a team now who's really set themselves standards.
Yes, obviously they qualified for the World Cup last year, and the profile of the game, the standards that was set there, narrowly missing going through in the group stages against Argentina. And I think last night's match, from what I've seen, really close. There was, you know, at least an equaliser there, if not a win. So there was chances. Jane Ross's header right at the end there. So I know they get another chance to play Finland in December. So and it's at home. So that's a big one, and also they get to play Portugal as well away. So yeah, they'll be frustrated at that, but they can take heart from. There were some good chances, and I have to say the Finnish goalkeeper was pretty outstanding there. She did some really good goal line saves from far out. So I'm sure Scotland will be looking at the analysis from that match, take the positives, and you know it's not long until they get to play those next two matches.
As you said, this is a team that they do and they have reached the finals of major tournaments. How do you deal with that pressure?
I think that was such an experience last year. I remember I was actually in Nice for one of them. I didn't actually get to watch the England match, but I think they've been pushing. They were at the Euros and now they qualified for the World Cup, and I think they just have been so thrilled to be part of that tournament. They worked so hard. Again, what we're saying with the Scotland women's rugby team over the summer, all that work, and eventually that's why you do it. Pressure is a privilege. You want to play in the big competitions. So now they've got a taste of it. They're like, right, we want to win our group, not just win. I mean, I think you can also go through on the runners-up as well in the European qualification. There's 16 teams from Euro 2022. So, but they will want to try and win that group. They don't want to be playing for the second place if they can. So they've got a taste for it, and now they want to back it up.
And touching on the World Cup, the Rugby World Cup, that is Scotland's squads. That's their goal coming up. Can they do it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's the 9th World Cup. Scotland, give you a wee bit of background to it, in 1991 that was the first one, and the second World Cup in 1994 the Netherlands were meant to host it, and 3 months before it was meant to start it was not going to happen. They pulled out, and Scotland said, we'll do it, we'll organise it. So in 1994 Scotland organised it. Sue Brodie, shout out to her, she organised it with an organising committee, made a profit, and with 3 months notice organised a World Cup. I remember going to watch that as well. So Scotland has been involved. It's not like Scotland's not been directly involved, and I actually had to do a bit of research, and the newspaper coverage from the 1994 World Cup from the Scotsman, etc., was phenomenal. So there is that, and I think I think that's what we've got to remember. There's a legacy there, and I think it's building blocks, but this group of players haven't been to a World Cup, and that's why they're just so hungry for it. And obviously what has to happen is they have to play Italy in December, on December the 6th, and that doubles as the last Six Nations match rescheduled from March, but it also is a European qualifier, so there's 4 of them, and there's Italy, Ireland and Scotland, and the 4th spot is either between Spain, Russia and the Netherlands, and they're meant to be playing this week, but it's been postponed. So at the moment we're just waiting to see what happens with that 4th spot, but that's why it's driving them on. But what I think leading up to that match, I know Brian was saying everything goes on that one, but I think if we get a good result against Wales this week, that might take the pressure off that qualification match, because everything riding on 1 or 2 matches. I think if we can put that, bank it in a way, get the good performance and the results this week, and then we're like, right, that's that confidence, we're going to bank it, so when it comes to qualification time we're ready, just like an exam or anything else, you're ready to go, we know what we're doing. So they'll have one eye on that this weekend, but I think with Wales this weekend is a game in itself to win. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, sin air san program eile, ma hag fór do Heather is on a bhí callrooms in studio. Fuidir sibh gar lentil gach seachcan ar YouTube, mar sin Jan Cín seachcan ís sibh go bhfuil a córta bréibh, gan bhí sibh gar lentil agus nach cail sibh program san bí. Bhí go bhí sibh nar cúteach in nás seachcain, nuair a bhí is túlaí scílacha nach an gréibh ó spór nach na Àlba, mar sin leibh an drast.